Good to be with you again. As we celebrate the 19th Sunday of Ordinary Time, I'm going to take a moment of reflection not about the Sunday, but about the great feast that we celebrate on Tuesday, the glorious Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary into heaven. This beautiful feast, which was highlighted in 1950 by the proclamation of Pius XII, that decreed by infallible teaching of the Church, this is a dogma of the Roman Catholic community. Mary was taken up into heaven, not ascended. Ascension is specifically left only for the Lord Jesus, because it is by his own power he ascends into heaven. But as Mary, who is assumed, taken up, the word assumption means to take up to heaven, is what Jesus did for his beloved mother after she had died. The Feast of the Assumption is a central feast, not only of the Catholic Church, but of the Orthodox churches, the Eastern Catholic churches. Actually, many of the Protestant churches observe, if not a technical feast called Assumption, they call it St. Mary's, or they call it the Feast of the Blessed Mother, or the Feast of Mary. The name of the feast also has had a number of different variations through the centuries. Among our Eastern Catholic and Eastern Orthodox brothers and sisters, it is often called the Dormition of Mary, because it enhances a particular dimension of her falling asleep, her death. The Catholic Church's teaching is one could believe she actually died or she was just taken up into heaven. Either one is acceptable for Roman Catholics, but among our Eastern Catholic brothers and Eastern Orthodox, they definitely feel Mary fell asleep, died, and then was taken up into heaven. And there's a very beautiful tradition in the East. It complements something else that we do on the feast day, of the blessing of flowers and herbs that goes on in many of the traditional Eastern Catholic as well as Eastern European churches, Polish, Slovak. A number of those churches bless flowers and herbs on the feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Mother. But let us recollect a moment this very beautiful tradition. It's a legend. It's not in the Bible. We affirm that her sharing in the resurrection of Jesus. Remember, the Assumption assumes, talk about assumptions. The Assumption of Mary assumes that there is a resurrection, and that resurrection has already taken place in Jesus Christ, and it is by the power of Jesus Christ that she is assumed into heaven. From ancient times, we have been taught that when Mary, the Mother of God, fell asleep, the whole company of the apostles, except Thomas, was miraculously brought together in Jerusalem. Amid divine and heavenly praises, they commended her soul into the hands of God and placed her body in a little tomb in Gethsemane. For 3 days, a choir of angels continued to sing above her tomb. And on the third day, Thomas arrived, so that he could venerate the body that had given birth to Christ God. The apostles opened the tomb. They found not the body of the Mother of God, but of winding sheets and a most beautiful and sweet-smelling flowers and herbs. Mary's body had been taken up into heaven by her Son. Flowers were then blessed, and herbs from the earliest times in both East and West. Over time, seeds and herbs used for medicinal purposes were also blessed, in commemoration of the many healings and blessings that were bestowed upon pilgrims at Mary's tomb. A very beautiful tradition. And that's why the word Dormition is so appropriate to this feast day, as well as the word Assumption. It's very interesting that when I was visiting Poland, and my beautiful stole comes from Poland, Our Lady of Częstochowa, I was visiting the major basilica in Krakow called St. Mary's, the Mariacki. And we were there for the opening of the Reredo screen, which is above the altar. It's a beautiful ceremony. It takes place every morning, and they close the doors of this beautiful painting every night. So as the door is swung open, it's an unbelievable, beautiful painting. On the bottom is a painting of the Dormition, Mary falling asleep surrounded by the apostles. That's the Eastern tradition, so strong. But above it is a heavenly Assumption and coronation of the Blessed Mother. Very Western tradition and Western, you might say, nomenclature for this beautiful feast. We celebrate this great festival of summer, and in a very beautiful way, with the blessing of flowers and herbs, we're reminded of how the fruits of the earth are marvelous and miraculous. And of course, the most miraculous and most wonderful fruits of all the earth is Jesus Christ and his resurrection. And that resurrection is to be, you might say, spread to not only his mother Mary, but to all believers who put their hope and faith in Jesus Christ and in the power of his glory.